To Cur with Love is so beautiful, and I was so pleased to see that this episode of The Simpsons has quite a high rating on IMDb. It's the 8th episode of the 24th season, directed by Stephen Dean Moore, with an average rating of 7.2 out of 10 across 1.2 thousand reviews and ratings, which for season 24 is a pretty decent score. And it is so beautiful. I cried multiple times. Homer it's kind of revealed that Homer doesn't really care about Santa's little helper. And the reason for this is because Homer had a dog as a child. And most of the episode is Grandpa Simpson telling the story about Bongo, this beautiful dog. I love how the dog was animated. It looked so friendly and loving and definitely a lot more cuddly than Santa's little helper. And we learn about why Homer had to what happened to the dog. I don't want to spoil too much about it because it really is such a beautiful episode. But very briefly, without spoiling anything, through flashbacks, we learn about Homer's relationship as a, I think, 6-year-old boy with Bongo, and then ultimately what happened to Bongo. And I won't give it away. I won't spoil it, but it moved me quite a lot. If you're an animal person of any kind, I can't imagine you'll get through this without welling up. It's so beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. And normally, I don't like the episodes of The Simpsons or any TV show where it's mostly flashbacks. I just tend to not find them that fascinating. But with this one, I couldn't keep my eyes off it. It was absolutely beautiful. Lisa also pointed out at one point that it's the saddest story Grandpa's ever told and the one that's actually made sense. And that's something that I actually acknowledged when I was watching this. It's one of the few times Grandpa's told a story where everything just makes sense and it's easy to understand and everything falls into place. But it's beautifully told. Very, very well done. And I do think you'll find it very emotional. That's not to say there isn't any comedy in this. Most of the comedy is earlier on in the episode. Bits that I love. I loved the intro with Professor Frink's car. I just thought that was fabulous. And that's actually how Abe ended up staying at the Simpsons house. Everything flowed together really well. And the bit with Homer feeding his jackass. Just the way he responded to his jackass was so funny, and probably if you've ever played any of those apps, it's also very relatable as well. So there was definitely some comedy in this, but it was mostly earlier on in the episode, and I found it to be very well done, and it was a lot more emotional than I was expecting, but it was enjoyable. Every now and then there'll be an episode of The Simpsons where the comedy takes a backseat intentionally, and they've written something to be meaningful and moving and lasting. And when it's done well, it can be so powerful. And this is one of those episodes. So it starts off actually really funny, and then it becomes really emotional, and it's a beautiful story. And yeah, definitely it got to me. And it's episodes like this that show that, yes, The Simpsons, a lot of the episodes of The Simpsons don't take themselves seriously. They're very silly. They're very often quite ludicrous, particularly as the seasons go on. But every now and then we get an episode where the show kind of holds its hands up and says, we don't always have to do silly comedy. Sometimes we can tell a story that will really touch the heart. And this is one of them. And it's just absolutely stunning.